Daniel Bwala, former Atiku boy, former Atiku spokesman, don't betray Atiku. Daniel Bwala now they come and they talk say Atiku is not destined to be Nigeria's president. Listen to Daniel Bwala, the carpet Atiku.
If you look at the interview with Mr. Peter Obi and those in the opposition coalition, they are of the opinion and their views are that this government lacks empathy. This government is wasteful. This government lacks the ability to be able to run this country right. I'm very sure that you watched that interview. And a lot of Nigerians will perhaps nod in the positive to what Mr. Peter Obi has said. How would he be able to defend what the government is doing in terms of the credibility in running the affairs of this country, in terms of cost of governance, the empathy that Mr. Peter Obi says this government lacks?
You know, I watched the interview. What I still find intriguing is that this coalition of internally displaced politicians have not been able to summon the courage and come with alternative facts, alternative policies, alternative programs. Throughout the interview you've had with Peter Obi, what I find, and you ask him very salient questions relating to policy, to governance, to specific issues of governance that we have applied or we're applying. He has not, throughout the interview, been able to controvert or to counter or to disagree in the real sense of the word with the policies that we are implementing. For example, you ask him about fuel subsidy. He said he will remove it and that what we did was not in an organized way and he will do it in an organized manner. You ask him again, what do you mean or how do you explain the way you will do it in an organized manner? He said he will remove the corruption in the subsidy before removing the subsidy. Absurdity. Actually, the corruption is in the subsidy. When you remove the subsidy, you remove the corruption. When you ask him a question about how to fix power, he said he will fix it, it's not rocket science. You say, okay, he should explain it. He said Egypt did it in 5 years. You ask him, okay, how will you explain it? He said Shewin is not rocket science. Was not able to answer. When he started raising this furious allegation about empathy, the question to ask is, and if you can look at it the world over, opposition political party try to not only talk, but try to do what they feel the government is not doing. In all these places of crisis he's talking about, and all the places where he said empathy was needed and the president wasn't there, was he there? Were the teams there? Is their coalition? They have not, in the last 2 years, demonstrated to Nigerians that they actually care about the plight of the Nigerian people. They are rich in their rights. They have not used their money, their contacts, their understanding, they have not mobilized the Nigerian people in any respect. What they do is the minute there is a crisis, they issue press statements. So their greatest strength in opposition is issuance of press statement, but without a definite plan of what they will do. And you see what, Dr. Shaw? Everything they have been talking in the last few days that they will do when they take over power, we're already doing it. When you ask him question about investment, he said he believes in production and not in consumption. You ask him how will he govern Nigeria? He said he will invest in education. Okay, we're already investing in education. We have 300,000 people, indigent members of the society who have access to school because of the funds that is provided. We have invested that in human capital development that he talked about. And you see the increase of the minimum wage. You have seen living conditions, workers across Nigeria being touched. Meanwhile, when he was a governor in Anambra, it was during his time that he increased the school fees of non-medical students from 35,000 to 75, and for medical up to 125,000. That led to some people pulling out of school and some people unable to finish. There were strikes during his time as governor. In fact, when the university went on strike, he sacked the vice chancellor. It is during his time as governor that the hospitals in Anambra had to go on strike because he could not provide a good living condition for the medical people. And he started persecuting the people, preferring mission schools over government school. This is the same Peter Obi in our climb and in this generation to wake up one morning and come up with an idea like a clap of thunder out of a blue sky. There is this thing called Bajwe. Sometimes you tend to think as if the Nigerian people are children. So whenever I listen to them about what they want to do, they have not been able to come out with it. Look at our policy, for example.
Let's take some of the issues one after the other. And
right.
there are litany of criticisms against this government in the wake of its 2 years anniversary or marking its 2 years in office. Mr. Peter Obi's comments are just one of those commentaries. But first, Mr. Peter Obi raised the issue about empathy. People died, and the issue about Mokwa, for example, and how the president has not been able to go on the ground. He said if he's elected president, he will go on the ground to such places. He says that kind of situation, wherever it is in the world, leaders will go on the ground, on the ground in that place. He mentioned the issue of people dying and the commissioning of both stations by the president. He says that is insensitive. He spoke about even the issue in Benue. The president could not go right to Yawata. The president only stayed in Makurdi. These are the issues about empathy. And any leader who wants to lead the country, from Mr. Obi's reference, it should have empathy. Does it look like this government doesn't have concern for empathy for citizens?
VeryDarkMan has more empathy than Peter Obi. He's not a politician, but he was in Benue. Why does he have to wait until he becomes a president before he gets to Benue? Why will he wait until he becomes a president before he will demonstrate? Empathy is personal, and it can be public. So him as a person, where
principal did not go there. Why is it that your principal? Is there any reason why the president couldn't go to Yawata, couldn't go to Mokwa, and commissioning both stations when people have died in the same, when soldiers are being buried?
So one thing about leadership is you have so many things and you have to prioritize them. If the president were to be physically in Yelwata, would he have made the differences he was in Benue? You see, some of this rhetoric of Peter Obi and by extension the opposition is neither here nor there. It is because they lack basic things to talk about as far as governance is concerned. They go to talk, okay, because if he was not in Benue, they will say he didn't go to Benue. Now you went to Benue, why didn't he go to Yelwata? The shifting of goalposts is one of these elements you find in these internally displaced politicians. How many of them are gasping for power now? About 6, 7 of them. Who among them has gone there? Go to England, go to America and see the opposition, what they would have done. Secondly, Peter Obi is talking about, how did he even put it about that the president was commissioning something instead of going to where people have died? If he understands the institution of the presidency, if he understands leadership, if he even knows the constitution of Nigeria, he knows that under Section 5, the president exercised that power by himself through the vice president, ministers, agency heads, and government of the federation. So anybody in this government that you see in any part of Nigeria where there is crisis, and I dare say the National Security Advisor has been going to all these places where there are crises. The military officers have been going in all these places where there are crises. The intelligence officers have been going to all these places where there are crises. These individuals are representative of Mr. President, except if he doesn't know what Section 5 is. And this is why they don't even know how to register a political party. And they started complaining. I find it very intriguing, honestly, that this element that come together under opposition have still not been fair to the Nigerian people to come up with concrete plans that they have. They are association of people desperate for power. Unfortunately for them, Nigerians know them. These people do not come like a clap of thunder out of a blue sky. We know their history. In fact, one of the characteristics of Peter Obi is falsehood, disinformation, and misinformation. Since 2023, when people fact-checked him, he has ceased saying, go and verify. So when I listened to some of the things he was saying that 2 days ago, I felt ordinarily we are not even supposed to react to him because Peter Obi now is a non-issue, is a non-starter. Already he has considered his presidential ambition to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Now he has become a second fiddle, but he needs to fight for the vice presidential ticket with Rotimi Amechi. And from what we are hearing, they have in a bad way manner convinced him that he will be Director General of the campaign to lead the movement, and that when they win election, Atiku will do one term, and then Peter Obi will come back to become president. Badwe plus Badwe is equal to Badwe.
Let me ask you. Mr. Obi alluded to the fact that this government has run this country into more debt, and it says this government has borrowed more than Jonathan, Yar'Adua, and Buhari put together. The facts to show today, that, just a moment, is that this government, in the last 1 year or more, we've seen that our both domestic and external debt had grown to about 121 trillion naira. That's way over 90 billion US dollars, and is gone over 20%, about 24% from Q4 of 2023 to Q4 of 2024 or Q1 of 2024, and that's about 24% increase in our debt profile, and that is the inference Mr. Peter Obi made.
And it's false, because some of his people went and asked Grok, Grok, that artificial intelligence assistant, and this is what Grok said. Peter Obi's claim that Tinubu borrowed more than Yar'Adua, Jonathan, and Buhari combined is a distortion. In Naira terms, debt rose from 46 trillion in 2023 to 149 due to Naira devaluation, not new loans. US dollar debt actually fell from $113 billion to 97, a net repayment. Previously, claims added to 97 of 94 billion combined in real terms. So Grok came out with facts to disprove the falsehood of Peter Obi, that it is not devaluation that accounted to that amount he's mentioning as debt, and it is not debt. Peter Obi does not have knowledge of statistics now. There is no fact he reels out that, when it is verified, has not come out as false. There is not a single one. And he knows that it's falsehood, but he's happy to just throw it, because he has an army of people called the obedient, who normally don't use their brains in interpreting whatever he said, but they take hook, line, and sinker and run to the market with it. Throughout today, I've been on social media, for the times that I've had. They have been asking Grok questions, and Grok has been fact-checking and giving them what they were not prepared for. The summary of everything Grok has been saying today is that Peter Obi has not been given the facts as they are in his allegation. The only thing Grok said that is a bit fair to him, he says that Peter Obi is somebody that is respectable. But the facts on ground don't support that. This is the point. But he's not even going to be the presidential candidate. The reason I'm out today is just to debunk that. He's not even our focus. He's not even going to be the vice president. I mean, director general of their next campaign. We will now be wasting our time and be responding to him. He has deceived the obedient, because their contract with him is that he's going to be the president, and now has been reduced first to second fiddle, and now to the position of director general to lead the campaign, that in 2031 he will be made president. So Nigerian people will know the days of sentiment that he used in 2023, religious sentiment, is over. If you have noticed the thought that Peter Obi deceived, they are not with Peter Obi at the moment. Their eyes are open. Secondly, the youth that Peter Obi claimed to have represented, Peter Obi has never identified with the youth. But the third and the most important thing, because what is the most important is that anybody who wants to wrest power from an incumbent government should come with alternative facts, come with alternative policy. That is the only thing that matters. But this coalition have not been able to come up with any policy that is alternative. Everything they say they want to do, we're already doing it. So why fix it when it is not bad?
The big question right here in the debate, and the reasons why the opposition coalition says they're coming together, is to the fact that this government has not met the expectations based on promises made and performance that have been delivered. And I was going to also ask you, are there preparation within the villa, because we understand that there is a warning from the coalition that you guys need to start preparing your handover notes and start getting out of office, because the opposition coalition is serious about sending the president back to Lagos in 2027, and they said they will keep to that. The fear and the storm brewing, even in the APC, there are those who are saying that the party may not be able to withstand the storm that the opposition is bringing to it. Is that realization in the presidency, and is that is that driving in the minds of those who are in power right now?
Honestly, Sheon, they are living in the fool's paradise. And let me explain. You see, all this fantasy of coalition, we all know that once there is a phenomenon like that, they are going to have a good 2 to 3 weeks of all these romanticizing of we have idea, we can do this. But one of them, his name is Dati, already sensed the danger that lurks ahead for them. And he said that the problem of this coalition will be who will be the presidential candidate, because right now, he said, I'm quoting him, everybody wants to become president. You see, this thing it's because the media hyped them, because they come together. After 1 month, when they sit down, I am telling you, Sheon, on my own honor, in the next 6 months, that coalition team will not even be a conversation. They will be scattered. That's why Peter Obi said, I am still a member of Labour Party.